everyone, welcome to this episode of Ruff Talk VR. Today we're talking about a game that just launched on the official Quest store.
Didn't know you were starting already.
Come on, man, I started hot. So, just launched on the official Quest store. If you go to the page, it'll say September 1st, but this game has been out a little bit longer.
Yeah, it did not actually come out September 1st, 2022.
No, the game we're talking about is Deisim. We just interviewed the developer and the creator, Solo Dev.
Yeah, Tommy.
Yep, just interviewed him last week. So it's a game that, he said that it launched in 2016 for the first time. We first came across it as one of the first games that we got when AppLab launched.
Yeah, and it was one of the only games, store including that offered what he had seemingly was putting together. But back when we first got it, it was obvious it was a work in progress. It was not a finished product that's been sitting there waiting just to go to the store.
No, I believe at the time, too, on the page, it had said it was in early access.
Yep. But, I loved the concept from day one and have really, really, really enjoyed watching this game progress. I never knew if it was going to make it to the store or not, but since we've owned it, we've never not enjoyed playing it.
No, it's a VR God Sim. So I've always loved strategy games. I've always loved God Sims. Any type of city builder, any type of world builder, civilization builder, you name it. I love these top-down strategy games. And I actually think that it works really good in VR. I think it's a genre a lot of people are scared to approach from a developer standpoint because a lot of people feel like everything needs to be like, first-person point of view VR. But I love the top-down strategy games. It's nice to sit down, move around with your hands.
I'm not going to lie. It's like one of my favorite features of the game is, you don't have to play it standing. You can, but honestly, no reason to in a million years.
No, I get them. I actually find it easier to play sitting, especially on like a wheelie chair, like one of those spinny chairs.
Nice and relaxed. But anyways, let's go over the ratings and
yeah, before we get too sidetracked as we were going down that rabbit hole.
So again, easy.
Yeah, the game's Deisim. We were mispronouncing it as Deism forever, and even in the interview last week, I even called it Deisim a couple times. It's Deisim.
I still like Deism.
Well, it's one of those things that we've said it for so long as that.
Can't break the habit now.
I mean, what has it been? Almost 2 years of saying it Deism?
Yeah.
It's very hard to switch to Deisim, but
But
Deisim.
out of respect, yeah, Deisim.
Yeah, it's Deisim. If we slip up, I apologize.
Deisim.
Yeah, no, Deisim. Yes. Made by Myron Software. Again, says Solo Dev says it came out. Yeah, his real name's Tommy Melatu.
I can't pronounce his last name well enough to.
Yeah, I don't. I have
to not butcher it.
I'll say I have a
Tommy.
I have a thick, non-flexible tongue. It's very hard at pronunciation sometimes. So again, it says it came out September 1st, 2022. Kind of fake news, but that's the launch on the official Quest store. Congratulations to them. He's among a group of games that have recently graduated.
Yep. And people can listen to that interview, and you'll actually hear some of the struggles that it took to actually get it from where it was to the official store. So it's really a good, educationally wise, of seeing like what it might take.
Yeah, there's some technical requirements for the official Quest store that
I
don't
don't want
exist
to lie. People can go listen to that. Absolutely.
But the game has a 4.7 overall rating with 795 total ratings and 492 written reviews,
which went up since I wrote mine and you wrote yours within an hour.
That happens quite a bit,
that's awesome though.
To me, that says that there's an active player base at all times on the Quest store. Like they're always playing games. There's always people reviewing it. It literally changes hour to hour with these official Quest store games.
And $14.99. And I think if you look at like the picture slideshow that they put up there for this game, it's a very accurate representation of the experience.
Yeah, I mean, you said it, $14.99. That's a steal for a game that has as much playtime as your imagination allows you. And exactly that. There's some games that you'll flick through the pictures and the video, and it looks like it was taken on PC VR, or the graphics are just way better than what you actually get. What you see is what you get in Deisim.
Yeah, looks good. I say good. It's like it's not.
It looks accurate.
Yeah, there's nothing. It's not going to be your Rockstar graphics. You're not going to look at it and go, oh my God, this is going to give Red Matter 2 a run. But it works for what it is, and it works well.
Yeah, I mean, again, VR God Sim. So again, all strategy games to me, it's less. The graphics are a very minute thing. It's more about the gameplay features.
Mm-hmm.
I've even played some really fun like 2D, just borderline text strategy games, and they're fun.
This game is far from complete too, so it's cool to know that there's more coming.
Yeah, well, he took it out of early access. It's no longer in early access, but there are more updates coming, including some pirates, which
Yep.
that's pirates seem to be hot right now. I know
Yeah,
Population
Pop
One.
One just dropped the pirate skin,
Yep,
the skeleton pirate skin.
Yep. So pirates are hot right now. But again, sandbox, God Sim, you build your own world from scratch. So it starts you with this little, I guess, I don't even know how many blocks, maybe like 4x4. It's a pretty small starting square, but in the beginning they kind of hold your hand for like the first initial steps, but they don't really teach you much.
No, they just give you a push down the hill, and your momentum is the rest of it. That's your learning experience.
I mean, in fact, if that's one thing that I wish I had. I wish that there was a built-in guide that I could access and say this resource does this, because like so much of it is learning.
It's wicked, but it's super easy to.
Yeah, it starts to make sense. But so at first they just start you with this grassland, and they have you build a forest because people need wood to survive, right?
When you say build a forest, what you do is you open a menu and you pick like tree with your hand, and then you can throw it. You can, you're God, or you're a God, so you can go real high in the air if you want and throw the forest down, or you can hold it in your hand
and just touch
the ground, so you can touch multiple squares.
I'll do that for building big areas of like one specific grass type. But yeah, exactly what Stratus over here said. You click one of the face buttons on the left controller and it opens up the miracles menu. That's what they call all the placing. So to start, there's only like grass and forest and some water and stuff like that. But over time, you get different terrain types, such as like desert.
Yeah, desert, grassland.
But the way it works, okay, so it's a little complicated because it's not just the terrain type.
Yeah, because you really only have like
3 different terrains. You have grass, desert, and ice, but they go along with the tree part. So
whatever forest you put next to them.
Exactly. So at first you just start with the tree forest, but then you also get pine forest, which correlates just with the ice people. It kind of like extends the ice region, if anything. But then there's also like savanna trees, oasis trees, and then there's sakura trees. And like the sakura with grasslands, that'll make an Asian population. And the default grasslands that they give you, when you put that with the regular forest right in the start, it gives you a European civilization. Or it's labeled as the culture section when you look at the description of the different cities. And then like desert with oasis or savanna. I always mix it up. But the oasis and the savanna mixed with the desert, one of them makes Africans and one of them makes Arabs. The ice with the trees, that makes Nords.
Nordic, yeah.
Nords, yeah. So, Europeans, Asians, Arabs, Africans, and Nords is all the different civilizations that you can make, and they
currently,
I mean, who knows what's
more
coming
coming.
And you just make them by matching the terrain type with the tree type.
And they have needs as they, like initially they're going to need wood first, and you don't have to physically.
No, they'll do it
click
automatically.
On like the character and then click on the forest, like other games have done.
Yeah.
I remember those, like you got to set your player to.
No, you're God. You don't control them. You would take like a step back, just build, and let it develop. But they do their own thing.
Yeah, you're controlling their fate. You can either let them succeed and help them succeed and put resources near them and get creative, and you now have the ability with this kingdom update to pretty much dedicate the favor of kingdomhood into one of your cities, and then you can watch them slowly try to take over the I got one, it's got 12 13 cities and pretty much got owned by one region.
Yeah.
Damn Europeans.
So yeah, at first they kind of hold your hand. They have you build the terrain, the grasslands with the forest. Then they have you place some animals because that's how they get their food.
It's real simple to learn.
Then they have you place some stone. And then as the civilization develops, you start to unlock more miracles. And then that's when you can start to build the other civilization types. Like I said, there's water, there's mountains.
Need the water to fish.
Yep. And like, don't think that you're gonna make an isolated like civilization. surrounded by water, and these people aren't gonna get. There's a swim to it. I promise.
Yeah, I don't care how much water you put there. If you put another civilization on the other side of it, because trade is important in this game too.
There's mines you can place in the
each
miracles.
city has to be able to trade with other areas, and sometimes in, I guess, disputes they're having amongst themselves, you'll get a message like so and so region is no longer allowed to trade with this particular, which is going to shut off that area from like a crucial resource that they obviously need.
Yeah, because every terrain type builds a different material or resource, and you get those by placing mines.
You know my secret with the mines?
What?
So once I've unlocked all the different terrain types and I have access to put down a mine in the desert, which will turn it into a gold mine, or you can put down a piece of swampland, and if you put a mine on it, it turns it into a coal mine. Then you have copper mines. And so I'll take an area, let's say it's all grassland, and then I'll use my void spell, which a void spell will allow you to take any terrain and turn it into nothing. They can't walk on it, cross it. It's literally your starting block.
Yeah, it's almost like an eraser.
Yeah, so I'll take the grassland and I'll put a 1 ice block next to my grassland mine, and then put a mine on the Arctic
On the terrain
square,
type.
just the one square.
Mm-hmm.
But what's crazy is sometimes
So what you're doing is you're giving the civilization
every resource they
right?
need. Yeah.
Even though it's maybe not the most realistic.
Correct. They don't have to travel anywhere for it. And you can watch the repercussions of this. It's because they don't have to go far at all. If they need gold, it's right. The only one I can't figure out how to do it with is the Arabs get the oil wells.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually in the game, your civilization needs oil. And I'm like, I put down a desert tile.
Because oil is built with a combination of different terrain types. There's
Correct.
a couple things like that. So
but for the most part, you can, once you get everything established, then now you can start really laying down give my civilizations everything they need. But one is always going to try to be the most powerful.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments in this game when you're first playing it where like, okay, you're going to see that your guys need tools all of a sudden. And you're going to be like, where do I get tools? And you're just kind of stuck for a minute. But keep playing, you're going to figure it out. I mean, like, there's some tips I'll give, like, hey, like, if you need weapons, guess who makes weapons? The Nords, the ice peeps. You need to have ice peeps to get weapons. Things like that. But we could spend here 2 hours just going over, like, the game mechanics of how each combo of different things works. I will say that there's a really good online guide I found for, like, this. It just breaks down everything about the game. Some of the fun is finding it out on your own, but if you're really stuck, I'll throw this guide in the episode description. So if anybody's stuck, you just really...
Or you just want to know for sure what combinations of land and forest give you what and what resources you get from each area.
I still reference it. Like, I'll be like, oh, man, I don't remember off the top of my head. Let me go look before I play. So it's a great guide. I'll throw that in the episode description of this episode if anybody wants to check that out. But the game goes deep. Like...
I mean,
like you said, they added the kingdom update.
Yeah.
So before it used to, like, you'll see the technological level of each city if you pause.
Age,
You'll pause the game, and then it gives a breakdown of the cities, which you can rename the cities too.
And they tell you when they advance. So if your city advances out of like the starting age,
the primitive age to the medieval age or the antique age,
you get a cool little happy music sound, and then it pops up on the screen like so and so, and you can rename all your. You seem to really enjoy that a lot.
I only do it with my main kingdom. So by main kingdom, what I mean is in your miracles list, like when you open up the miracles, you keep getting more. Eventually, you'll get one with a crown that says inspiration. That's the kingdoms update. So it used to just be.
And you can only use that on one city.
So basically, you'll make a kingdom, but other kingdoms will form on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's this mechanic in the game that we haven't even talked about because I'll be honest, I turn it off a lot in the settings. But there's natural disasters because it's a god sim. But then there's also heretics, like people who disbelieve in you.
Yeah.
You're a god. People need to have faith in you. So you'll see the faith level of each city, and heretics will pop up. And heretics lower your city's faith. And if you have a couple heretics and they get really low faith, they will legit make their own kingdom. You'll get a heretic kingdom. Uh, Now you can turn heretics off, but your faith will still fluctuate based off upon your actions.
Mm-hmm.
So you can increase your faith by healing people. That's a nice one.
Yep.
But
Make it rain.
that doesn't last forever though. As you advance, you can start to just place humans places, and they give you either regular humans, they give you scientists, and they give you priests. Now, if you place a scientist, that's going to help your city advance, but it's going to lower your faith because they're scientists. They're going to be like, this is how shit actually works, bro. But it's kind of funny because it's like, hey, I actually do exist. I'm here, you know? But then you can also play priests that the priests are the balance to the scientists. So oftentimes I'll place like 2 scientists, 1 priest, 2 scientists, 1 priest. But the priest will raise your faith back up. So even without the heretics, you still do have to manage your faith. Otherwise, I mean, I've caught some cities I'll look and I'll be like, oh my God, it's at 25% faith. And it's nice when you pause the menu, it gives you a little breakdown.
And you don't have to. You can let shit naturally go south.
Yeah, I just like to keep mine at like 95% total faith.
You like to manage your god status well.
Yeah, even while kingdoms are at war. Very rarely do I intervene and pick a side in war.
I did the other night because one of my main, we'll say kingdom, was just ruthlessly attacking, not attacking, but annexing and making it part of its kingdom, which is what it'll do nonstop until someone kicks its ass. And it was this little village. I mean,
probably not even part of a kingdom, actually, right? It was probably like still
no,
an independent city.
It had to be because it was going to get attacked, and they did. I'm like, no way are they going to like attack that? Like, it's brand new. They're living in tents. They just discovered fire, and in comes the soldiers, and they have their little battle that you can zoom up and watch if you want. And it's obvious
who's gonna win.
They didn't even have mining pickaxes, so they're hands, knuckles, slapping.
And you'll watch them kill men, women,
they
children.
Don't care. It's going down. And they annexed it. So I was like, you know what? No, that's not right. So I opened up my menu and took out my fireball.
Because you can make fire, tornadoes.
And I started setting shit on fire. And then I dropped a tornado. You can put shit out with rain. So it's like you can kind of torture the...
Mm-hmm. But be careful with tornadoes, though.
Yeah, tornadoes go quite a distance over the map, but the ultimate, if you really want to put a volcano next to their village and then set the volcano off, and it
destroys the tiles.
Yeah, you're back to the void.
Yeah, it's like exactly like the void reset, but less controlled. More like it just makes a whole general radius. It's really...
But yeah,
destructive.
Payback can be a bitch.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
you can spread disease. You can do locusts.
Yep, you can.
They give you a nice. I still actually kind of want more variety of miracles to be able to perform.
Positive and negative. I agree.
Yeah, they give you the omen one. You can do a positive omen.
You can do a bad omen. Yep.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I've noticed, I don't know if it's coincidental, but oftentimes when I do an omen, my guys go to war shortly after. But besides just heretics cities popping up in that main kingdom that you'll form. Cities will become kingdoms, or like cities that are owned by one kingdom will break off and form their own kingdom.
Yeah.
So there's been times I have 5 kingdoms, and like your civilizations can go all the way from the primitive age all the way up past modern to futuristic, and the weapons that they use change with it. So if you have a city that's in the modern age or the futuristic age, God forbid, and none of the other cities are,
oh yeah,
it's game over. They're gonna manhandle everyone.
Yeah, be like being attacked by aliens. What the hell are you gonna do?
Yeah, you're screwed, and you'll see that the futuristic weapons are really cool. So
aren't the buildings. I like the buildings.
Yeah, and that's the thing. As each civilization advances in age, you'll see the entire landscape change. Not landscape, but
it's kind of one of the things I like about that, because I used to love those games where you could set people to shit. I think even Red Alert 2, you'd have to like mine resources and stuff and set the. So I like that whole watching the shit play out.
Yeah, again, you're just you're almost like a spectator. You set the environment, you set the playground, and then more humans will pop up. And when you pause, I was saying it says like your faith amount. It says your karma percentage as well, if you're being a good god or bad god. Which doesn't seem to affect...
Who judges God, though?
I know, right? A lot of
Who
my
wrote
times.
who wrote the judgment for? That's what I want to know.
Well, you wanna. Well, you're gonna justify your bad actions because you're gonna say, well, sometimes I do bad things. I might burn down the city, but it's because they were acting a fool. All right? You're trying to.
You can have so much fun, and you can smack people with trees. You
Yep.
can
You
crush people in your hands.
throw them
make
in a
'em pop.
volcano. You
Yeah.
can throw them off the edge.
It's just, I mean, little, and they even have sandbox mode. So if you don't really want to do, I won't call it career mode that we generally do, but you can just do sandbox mode, have everything already set.
Which is pretty much the only difference in the quote unquote career mode, as you would call it.
You earn the miracles.
Yeah, you only start with grassland and trees and and then it goes, and then eventually you'll get.
Unlocked so quick. So
Yeah,
it's
to
like,
me it's the same.
Yeah.
I'd rather.
But if you don't want to do that and start fresh, then
Well, the benefit of doing sandbox would be like, okay, so if you do the career, always your European city is at a lead because it's the first civilization you get. Now that doesn't mean they're going to do the best, because usually, I'll be honest, the way I have
no, because you could also use the kingdom miracle
on another
on a
exactly
different city.
just wait for people to catch up, build it more efficient, more resources around them.
So you can control who's really in charge.
Yeah, my African city, because of how big I built the world, and like I maxed out all my tiles that I can, but
Which I think is 600 tiles.
something like that. Tommy said it in the interview, but the desert area I made is so big. The ice area is big too, but my ice civilization just doesn't advance as fast as my desert peeps. My desert peeps just excel.
I made my African, I'll call my African nation huge.
Well, I say desert peeps only because it's African
Huge.
and Arabs. That's
Yeah,
like
but
I
I
have
didn't
both
do.
in there.
I have no Arabs in my. It's all. And what's cool is the animals. Each area has different animals that you can drop down for their food,
including a swamp area, which makes your people sick.
Yeah, I wouldn't build a big one of those.
But
I only
you do
build
need
one for the coal mine.
That's how you get coal. I don't really consider it like a spoiler to say this stuff too, because it's helpful tips. But again,
That's
we
not
could
a spoiler.
no, we could sit here for an hour just reading the way all the different, like, oh my god, the game goes deep.
You wouldn't think it's as fun as it is, but over a year and a half of even playing it in early development, and don't get me wrong, I say early development, when we first started playing it, it was definitely a lot more stripped down than it is. But every time there was an update, and I said it in the interview, it's like you knew something good was coming with it. It just wasn't a behind-the-scenes fix for something you don't even really know about. It was like
Content.
a new civilization,
Or the kingdom update.
new miracles.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting is, so for your kingdom, when you do the inspiration on them, they're just pretty ruthless nonstop. I don't know. In my last save I was doing, my guys were pretty mellow. I kind of had to give them a little kick in the butt to get going.
Oh no, these guys
But
are terrible.
once they did go going, they decimated every civilization except one, and then I decided to do a world reset,
Yep.
and I burnt it all down.
Wreaked havoc.
But I saved it in the save spot. Now, like, what's interesting, you go to save, and there's like probably like 50 save slots,
Oh, there's so many safe
and you're like,
slots.
why would I ever need that many? But start playing, and like, I can't build a world layout without already having an idea of
For the
what I
next
want to
one.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, I do it too. So
So
it doesn't take a lot of, again, not a lot of effort, even if you start from the ground up. And I guess I question, why don't I just do sandbox mode? Because I'm essentially just going in and then
It's just so similar, but I agree, because then you can start with however civilization you want. That's really the main difference to me.
yeah.
Do I want to have to be forced to start with the European, or do I want
But
to?
it doesn't really matter to me because I'm
No.
choosing which city I'm giving.
Now, if it's your first time you've ever played this game, and you open it and you go right into sandbox mode, and you open that miracles menu, you're gonna be like, "Holy shit, where do I start?"
Yeah, I would
So-
do that.
I get it for the first couple saves. I get it. But yeah, no, the 50 save slots make sense, because I never wanted, when I'm done with one, right, when I'm ready to move on to the next, I don't want to say goodbye to it. I want to keep it saved. Maybe I want to go visit again.
Yeah, but I
Are you ever going to?
No.
But you still want it, you still, because like
And
there's
it's just like you said, because if I open up, let's say I've got 8 save slots and I
Mhm.
open up number 2 or 3, I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, I remember why I did number 4, because I didn't have all that bullshit. Then you look at where you're currently at and how you kind of, because to me, the longer you play it, the more strategic you actually get, and you're like thinking way ahead of conquers and takeovers, and you don't have to play the game like that. You can.
Yeah, you never have to do the kingdom inspiration, but it's cool seeing like 4 or 5 different kingdoms, and they're all, you know, doing
They're
their
having
thing.
their own diplomacy and
Yep. I wish that part kind of went
economy.
a little deeper.
I love it. I don't have to work hard to like go, oh shit, this guy needs wood. I need to set up a trade route with.
And it's cool. You can see who the ruler for each kingdom is.
Yeah, you can kill the ruler.
And like it'll tell you. So you can pick up any citizen, any human, and it'll tell you their name, their age, and some personality traits. And technically, like it'll say like if they're a worker, if they're the king or queen, if they're a soldier. But so there's the couple of times I got involved as like really involved. It was like I got a new one and a new leader of my main civilization, which I named Ruff Talk VR. I had Ruff Talk VR, and then I had Regiska as one of my cities. I had Straduska as one of my cities, and then I had Dscruffles, just spelled very silly looking. So it was a lot of fun. But so I went into Regiska, which was my capital, and the new leader was like he was cowardly or greedy, and then one other negative, because there's 2 personality traits. Both of them were very negative, and I went right in the middle of the city, and I went squeeze, and they everybody freaked out for a second, and then they cooled down. And now one time I did that squeeze thing on one of my ice cities. It was kind of like on the edge of the map, and they took over Straduska. So I was pretty upset with them. Again, one of the few times I got involved in this save. So I zoomed in real close because they have a lot of different movement, or
Yeah, which I would say play around with, because
the one that you think you might like the most might not be the one you like the most.
Yeah, I like to be able to pull and drag myself.
That's the one
around.
I do. Yeah, I actually do the same. So that's why I was saying like I zoomed in. If anybody's watching video, I'm like pulling my arms apart because that's literally how you do it. You grab and you pull. I love the pull movement. And I got close and I just grabbed that leader and I just crushed him, and every citizen ran off the edge. And then it was like the name of the kingdom was Landbrat, and it's like Landbrat's been destroyed, and I was like, oops, did not mean to do that.
Yeah, sometimes the whole human sacrifice thing doesn't go well with the onlookers, especially if they're a relatively small community of like 5.
So I did have a heretic city that I was trying to keep floating for a while too.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know why. They're heretics. I shouldn't do it. But I was like, they were one of because most times the attacker wins, I've noticed. Who's ever going after a city, it's very hard for a civilization to defend. But I got them to defend a couple attacks.
Oh, so they were hard ass, yeah.
Well, because what would happen would be like, they were on par technologically, but I would throw like 10 or 15 extra humans at them. So like, a city would have 15 citizens. These guys would have 30, 35. It's like,
so even if they were fighting with their fists, they could still give a good fight.
But then eventually, Ruff Talk VR took them over. they held up for. I tried so hard too, but I was like, I don't want to actually stop the fight, because you could grab the soldiers and kill them all if you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
You can adjust the time so it can go 0.5, 1, 1.5, or 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
I keep it maxed on 2.
Always, baby. I want those, because you'll see on your wrist there's your points that you used to buy miracles, like something. It could cost as low as
your
10
karma points.
Yeah, it could cost as low as 10, or as high as 200.
Yeah,
and it's like you get like 5 a second in the regular speed. So it's like, I want to go up. I want that shit fast,
And they give you some cool miracles, like you can regenerate an area if everyone's cut down their trees and such, which
or kill the animals.
They'll come back on their own over time, but if you want to speed up the process,
or if
you can just throw regen all around.
If you burnt something, you can use it to regen it too.
Oh yeah, you can bring a forest back. Mm-hmm. And then, like you said, the animals, you can do that. You can make it rain, so you're helping the forest grow and stay made. It's just,
if people get a disease, you can heal them, or you can just do heal in general just to pump up the karma. I mean the belief, the
or
faith.
You just do whatever you want. You're
God.
You're a deity.
Yeah, it's freaking.
It's more fun than I would have thought it's remained to be.
And the kingdom update was, for as simple as it sounds, like, oh hey, you can make kingdoms now go to war with you. Like, it's a deep element. It's really cool. I like to do it early on, and then so by the time kingdoms are in the future, or civilizations are in the future age, like I have like 5 different advanced civilization. It's like it's very hard for one to take over at first until they get a real big lead. So you'll just see them do their thing for a while.
Yeah, they have to reach a point where they can make weapons, and then you'll hear them calling their army together. It'll tell you again. The music will show.
And again, you'll, like you said, you can watch them do the combat. So you can watch that army march all the way. And sometimes I'm like, they're going to that city? Nope. No, they
Go
skipped right by it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, they're going. Where are they going? And then same thing that happened to you. It's like, oh my God, they're going for the little guy. You skipped over all of your enemies and you're going after this guy.
Yeah, I don't play that.
Yeah.
If that's how they behave, they become a burnt to the ground city.
Well, sometimes I think they do it to, because I've noticed, like, all right, maybe my kingdom's at war with, A's at war with B, but instead of fighting B, they're going to take over a small city, but it's near B. So I'm wondering if they're just trying to get a base.
Yeah, because every time they go back, you'll see cities that you've annexed will now create armies too. Mm-hmm. So you have 3 different battles going on.
That's when your kingdom's kicking ass.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I'll get a notification, loads up in every city. That's when it knocked them down to only 2 kingdoms. I went from having 5 kingdoms to I got building an army here, and every time they took over a city, they just instantly build an army there. I was like, oh, this is world freaking domination right now.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm excited for this pirate update.
I'm more really excited than I should be, man. He said it.
So I don't know how it's all going to play out and how it's going to be.
To me, that sounds like it's going to add much more importance to the water, because right now the water is just for fish. It doesn't really separate, but it sounds like it's going to enhance the trading and sailing and.
Well, yeah, especially if you can get robbed crossing the water or swimming across it, because they'll swim across it with goods in their hands.
Do you think pirates are going to be like a terrain type, or do you think that it'll be like how you throw animals on the land? Do you think it'll be a miracle that you throw in the water? How do you think it's going to work? I'm so curious.
I don't know. I hope it's land built.
But if there's sea trade with different, I'm going to change how I build civilization so much. Because right now I do it kind of like, almost like a giant square, and like everything's connected, and then I like surround it in water on the outside. So I'll have my European and my Asian in the middle, my desert, the Arabs and the Africans up top, and then my ice Nordic people at the bottom, But now...
No, I keep water around every single little...
Yeah.
If it's grasslands, then it's got 2 blocks of water going all the way around it. And then if it's a desert, I do the...
And it's cool watching... I mean, you just have to create the right circumstances for a civilization to appear, and they'll just appear.
It's exciting to watch them upgrade.
Yeah, and
it's watching them thrive, and you can zoom in and be like, okay, they're working on getting some stone.
I love building a new area and just seeing which civilizations pop up. And I mean, when I did my world reset, when I burned everything to the ground, I'm saying like hellfire. These cockroaches, man, they just spawned up new cities in like 2 minutes. I had little primitive cities everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, these troopers, they're not dead. I mean, it's...
No, and again, even if you try to do the tactic I do with putting a mine for each, we'll say land area in another land area, I've had many instances where I'll have grasslands put down in the Arctic, and boom, there's the little fire, little fire pit sitting in the middle of the tile, which means they're moving in. And I got to burn that to the ground, or use the void and then put it down again. Try to do it real quick. It's crazy.
And again, for very simple graphics, that's a nice way to put it. Simple graphics. I don't care at all. Like it doesn't take away anything to me.
It's just a chill experience. It's not. There's no stress.
It's bright.
You can't die. There's nothing.
It's got that nice, bright, happy atmosphere.
No worries. They make cute little effects of.
Mm-hmm. You can't lose.
No. You already won.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I agree. I think more miracles, positive and negative, just more ways to influence the world would be cool.
But I don't think we're far from done of seeing.
No, he's out of early access, but it sounds like he has so many ideas.
It was a good interview.
Yeah, he was talking about a next game during the interview too, and I'm curious to hear more about that. He says it's gonna be a co-op God Sim. I don't even know how that would work, but I'm excited. If it's made by Myron Software, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, so far I'm pretty impressed, especially for you're looking at a solo dev.
It's impressive.
Yeah, there's a lot of success stories going on.
And again, there's been a handful of games to graduate from the official or from App Lab to the official store, and I was very excited to see this. Mostly because it's a good game. It's a really good game.
Well, if it's something you already like, and then you see good things happening for it, then of course you feel a little happier than you might have.
Well, it was one of our first App Lab ones, and we had been yet to review it, and then it moving to the official store. I was like, there's never been a better time, So
I never wanted to review it because I never knew where it was going to end. I didn't know what the end. I didn't know it was going to the store. I didn't know that was.
Well, I don't always like reviewing things when it has the early access label on it because
Yeah,
it's not fair. I'm going to give it a
done.
score on something that's not right. I'll talk
And again,
about it.
every time that he threw an update on there, I would like go back to it and be like, "This is pretty freaking cool." Kind of reignites me wanting to play it.
I killed my battery so many times with this game the last couple weeks. Like usually we hop around a couple different games, but we're just not with this. It's like I lose track of time. All of a sudden, it's like 30 minutes longer than I meant to stay up. I'll hear you go, well, I know any second now I'm going to get that warning sign. And then, poof, I hear you go. I'm like, oh, he's gone. I see Stratus has left the party.
I'm out.
Battery dead. But it's a battery killer because it's got that, like, I just want to do one more thing. Then a new development happens. You just want to keep playing.
No, I'll always have a soft spot for this, I think, in my library of games. And then I know I'll probably won't play it every day. I'm not lying, but I know when I'm doing some spare time gaming and stuff, I'll just go through and look at. This is definitely going to be on that list.
Yeah, and I mean, full disclosure, we both. I mean, I grew up with playing strategy games with you. Like you referenced Red Alert too.
Yeah.
I loved Red Alert. I loved all those strategy games. So I have a soft spot. I'm a little biased for any strategy game. I loved Eternal Starlight for the same reason. I love these top-down strategies. But you want to get into our final thoughts and everything like that?
Oh, go for it.
I think it's appropriate. I think we've covered just about everything with gameplay, settings. I mean, the settings we didn't really go too deep into, but
no, that's why I just said you definitely want to play with them.
Yeah,
and find what's going to be comfortable for you because the defaults might not be the most.
I didn't like the default. I went to the grab and pull, but they have several different, and I just found the grab and pull the easiest to do. You can, like you said, you can change your view either by zoom and pulling, or you can kind of like click through some different preset heights.
They give you 3 different view heights,
and you can go pretty high up. You can go pretty small. So I mean, like they're very generous in that regard.
Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Again, it's definitely not a hard one to learn.
No, and they probably have a locomotion for you.
Yeah, I would say the settings are probably the hardest part of it.
Yeah.
Finding the best one you want to use.
Well, because you use it and then you got to close it out and play around with it, right? So you got to play through a couple of them. But anywho, like always, before we get into our final thoughts and review, let's take a moment, take a message from some sponsors. People besides our listeners who help keep this ship sailing.
Sponsors.
Aye, aye, Captain. Damn, Stratus, have you been working out, or is that a new shirt?
Nah, it's just a new shirt.
What is it? Is that your True Classic tee right there?
It is.
Oh my goodness! Check this. At the Ruff Talk VR podcast, we just landed a brand new podcast sponsor.
One that I'm really happy about.
Well, let's be real. It's the case with you. It's the case with me too. Anybody who knows us, we're pretty weird about, shirt material.
Yeah, I don't like certain things on my skin.
No, I'll drive my girlfriend crazy. I'll put on a shirt. I'll sit there for a second.
Off.
I'll be like, nope, need a different one.
Too thick.
Yep.
Too heavy.
Material, fabric, weight, it's all essential for wearing a shirt.
Yep. You're speaking the truth.
And you know what? These shirts came in. True Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Their shirts, they're lightweight.
They form fit really nice.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like not everybody's got the guns,
but
you don't need it with these type of shirts. Real form fit. If you're, we'll say, a bigger size gentleman, either long or just bigger. It really doesn't make that hanging feature that you see some shirts put on. It kind of just hangs right over.
The most important thing for me was going to be how it felt on my skin more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Anything outside of that's an added bonus. So they've hit all the boxes that one would need checkmarked for a good quality T-shirt.
Yeah, so whether you're like us and you're very particular about the type of shirt you're putting on, or you're just having trouble finding a good fit T-shirt, check out True Classic. You can use code word Ruff Talk VR, all one word. can save 25% off your order, and they even do free shipping with orders above $100.
Yeah, that's in today's times, that's worth its weight in gold.
And you might say, $100 in shirts? Go
Yeah, you know
shop.
what?
You know what? They got packs. They do other things besides shirts. They do workout stuff. You say,
Yeah, you can bundle your own little wardrobe accessories there. They got something for everybody. But if they could send out like a little 4-inch swath of their shirts to just millions of people, I bet you millions of people.
Oh, just sample the fabric?
Because before I even put mine on, I just wanted to feel it. And I knew before I was even going to put it on, I'm like, this is a good t-shirt.
Yeah.
And it sounds crazy, but they're definite. I'm living proof. I got a whole drawer in my house full of shirts that I will not wear, each for a specific reason.
Yeah. No, True Classic Tees is not going to fall into that pile.
Nope, they home runned it. They really did. So, and I'm happy that they did, because otherwise we certainly wouldn't be able to talk about it.
Yep, and I'm glad that now we can share some savings with our podcast listeners. So,
absolutely.
Again, that's 25% off with code Ruff Talk VR, and purchases over 100, free shipping, baby.
Nice. Smooth sack summer is slowly coming to an end, fellas. If you haven't been scaping for the summer sun, it's not too late to sweep your sack of those pesky pubes. As summer comes to an end and we enter fall, keep your boys clean and fresh just in time for Fresh Ball Fall. The leader in below-the-waist grooming is here to make sure your pubes feel smoother than a beach ball and smell fresher than your girl's pumpkin spice. Start the new season the right way and join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code RuffTalkVR at manscaped.com. The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need to keep your sweet, sweet sack in check. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver, toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. Their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multi-function on-off switch that can engage a travel lock, and gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. Now that your sack is smooth, lather up with Manscaped's liquid formulations to get that fresh ball fall freshness. The Crop Preserver, ball deodorant to stay cool in the heat. Their soothing aloe vera formula is the best in the business for below-the-waist freshness, and the clear drying formula keeps your sack looking and smelling good. Great goosey moosey! Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts for their Performance Package 4.0. The Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag that'll bring your comfort to another level at home and on the go. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code RuffTalkVR at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code RuffTalkVR at manscaped.com. Keep things smooth and fresh as we say sayonara to smooth ball summer and enter fresh ball fall.
This podcast is brought to you by Kiwi Design, the leader in metaquest and VR accessories. And now you can deck out your device while supporting the podcast. The metaquest 2 is a great headset, but do you ever feel things could be a bit more comfortable? Well, we have the solution for you. With lens protectors, controller grips, face covers, head straps, link cables, headset stands, and more, including my 2 personal favorites, the top version controller grips with added weight and an extended handle, and the Kiwi upgraded Elite strap. Let's be real. We've all whacked our controller. Don't be the guy messaging Oculus support for your own mistake or waiting weeks for an out-of-stock controller. Visit the link in our show notes to prepare yourself today. After visiting the link in our show notes, make sure to use the promo code RuffTalkVR at checkout, all one word, to take full advantage of your savings. And make sure to click the link in our show notes so the podcast gets credit and you help support us. Remember, whatever you need, Kiwi has you covered. All right, so back to our normal style game. We did Red Matter 2 last week.
Yeah, puzzle game.
So that's we do a different rating system for that. We're back to the normal with this one. Normally the way our rating system works, it's 5 categories: gameplay, aesthetics, functionality, replayability, and value, broken into 1 to 20, and the total being the final score. So I think you went last week, right?
I did.
So I'll take it this week. We're trying to bounce back and forth because it's no good when the same person goes every week and it's like the same score from both people. It's like, oh man, you're copying, but you're not. I understand. So We'll go starting with gameplay. I'm gonna give them a 20. I love strategy games. I love God Sims. This is my cup of tea, and I mean they give me everything I want and a little bit more. The Kingdoms update. I wasn't actively viewing their voting list. In our interview with Tommy, he had referenced that their community has a voting website where you can help vote on features. I didn't know how wanted the Kingdom update was. I wasn't even my brain wasn't even going that direction when I was playing it way long ago. But I love that update. Same thing with Pirates. I love those updates. But even without it, the game's freaking really good. Uh, it does everything I want in a God Sim, and like I said, a little bit more. So 20 in gameplay. Aesthetics, that's probably where I'm going to hit them the hardest. Um, it's not bad or anything like that. It's just really simple graphics. Uh, Again, not in a bad way though. It doesn't kill my experience, but I have to be honest with my scores and everything like that. I'm gonna give them a 10 on aesthetics. Uh, the environment's really fun and happy though. I was going back and forth. Do I give them 10 or do I give them 15? Because although the graphics are very simple, they do a good job making it feel happy. Keeping you immersed. Couple different music tracks too, depending on your civilization, level and stuff like that. So it's cool, but just to stay consistent, I think I'm going to go with 10 for aesthetics. Functionality, I'm going to give them a 20. I didn't have any glitches. I didn't have anything that didn't feel like it didn't work. Maybe if they only gave me the default... Damn. Motorcycle season today. So maybe if they only gave me the default locomotion, I would probably hit them a little there, but that's the only thing is like the default one felt weird, but then they give you so many different styles of movement and everything like that you're going to find one that works for you. The game didn't crash. I didn't have, like I said, any glitches or anything that didn't work properly, so functionality is an easy one. I'm going to give them a 20 there. Replayability, I could see if somebody said 15 because you do hit a wall, like your civilizations are all hitting the futuristic era. You're probably just going to sit back and play more of like a spectator with little influence at that point, especially once you hit the max squares built. You can do what I did, do a world reset, and you'll see your cockroaches of humans just pop up and build more civilizations. But I could see the argument that you hit a wall. But for me personally, I've never hit a wall in the save and not already had the next idea of what I want to do. Usually I have that idea of what I want to do next by the time I'm done building my world. So for me, I'm going to give them a 20 on replayability. It's a battery killer. It's a stay up too late playing because you go to do one more move and goes to one more move and then this happens and one more move. Then, oh my God, I should have been in bed 30 minutes ago. So replayability, I got to give them a 20. And same thing on value. I got to give them a 20 on value. The game's 15. Don't quote me on this. I mean, we paid for the game. We bought it. It was one of the first games we got on App Lab. I want to say it was a little cheaper when we first grabbed it, but I'm not 100%. I would need to check my receipts, but for $15, $14.99, the game's a steal. For the amount of hours I put into it, very much worth it. And it's, we know there's pirate content coming. Who knows what's coming after that? So, with more content to come, definitely $14.99, no brainer. So 20 on gameplay, 10 on aesthetics, 20 on functionality, 20 replayability, 20 value, 90. I mean, the only category I could hit them on was aesthetics.
Oh, it's a really good score.
And even then, I could see if somebody said 15 on aesthetics, because they do a really good job with the immersion. But I'll stick with 10.
Gameplay's weird, man. I'm still as I'm ready to say it. I'm on the fence.
Yeah, there's a couple that I felt that about.
It's like there's such a fine line, and I it's weird because I want to say one thing and I think it's really another. So I don't know if my bias is taking over a little, or maybe I'm using that bias to be more critical. Either way, so I'm on the cusp of a 15 or 20.
Yeah,
and it's one of the rare times where it's like I'm really struggling with a commitment because both sides in my head are totally viable scores, and I could actually justify both. And I feel bad saying a 15, but I'm going to. And it's not a negative dig to the overall experience. I'm just on that weird cusp of like Not really sure it's a 20. And again, this is all opinionated anyway, so I mean, you can take what you want from it. But I'm gonna go a 15. Although you can see how I'm on that, like,
Yeah, might wake up at 1 a.m. going, fuck, I fucked up.
I already
messed
know
up.
I already know I did. You know, that's kind of my attitude, but whatever. Aesthetics, I'm going to actually go a little higher than you on aesthetics. I am going to give them a 15. I find if I zoom in close, which I don't really like to do, I like to keep a nice distance so I can overlook my world and see what's going on from a bird's eye view per se. But if I like go in close and I look at like the people, although they don't have faces, they're cleared out faces, there's some good level of detail. And I like the little funny sounds that the people make with the little, set them on fire or something.
Yeah, so one time I picked up somebody and they said, I don't believe in you.
Yeah, so it's like the overall aesthetics, I'll differ a little, and I will give them a 15. Functionality, yeah, I couldn't find anything mechanically wrong with, since it's really been in early access even, I didn't find anything. Thank God for that. It's like, didn't fall through the world, or I haven't even heard of anything really. So I do give them a 20 in functionality. Replayability, I'm only going a 15 because I admittingly have owned it for as long as we have, which is, shit over a year and a half. And I don't play it all the time, but it's in that secondary group of games that I'm always kind of like, oh, I'll play that and do it for a little bit. And it's not really until I see the updates where I start to get real excited and go, oh yeah, I'm going to that, and then I'm going to be in deep, kind of like we've been for a while. Weeks. So again, I can't argue with the replayability of a 20 because I totally get it. But for me personally, I would give it a 15. And then value for money is, and I think you're right. I think it was $9.99 maybe when we first got it. But $14.99 with the upgrade he just did before putting it on the store, so everybody benefit that pre-owned it. A 20 definitely. So overall score an 85.
I'd be curious to ask you your score after the Pirates update too. I'm so excited
Well, see,
for that.
if that's the thing, if the Pirates update came out, let's say next month, and I redid it, I'd probably be like, oh, dude, gameplay's a 20.
But here's the thing. I can't criticize your 15 on aesthetics or your 15 on replayability or gameplay. It all makes sense. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
So it's like in a lot of these, like the gameplay really was the one truthfully, like.
Don't think this was an easy score to come to for me either. It's like, oh man, like I
one
really
of the
had to
tougher
think about
ones.
it. Yeah, I've really had to think about it. I won't lie.
And I think partly because I do continually play it, right? But it's not like, it's like, okay, replayability with Pop 1, if I were to write this category down and
yeah, that's the gold standard. That's the gold standard.
It's like, oh man, yeah, it would definitely be a 20. I hit it every day. I can't help myself.
No, I can see the
But an 85 and 90, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to them. They definitely deserve to be on the official Quest store because there's not other God Sims. It's one of those genres people love.
That's why we got it on App Lab in early development, because it's like, this is the only thing.
I almost feel like digging up the messages of when we found it because we were pumped about it. We were like, dude, check this out.
And not for nothing, I think even way back then, graphically, it wasn't a train wreck at all.
No, I think it was pretty similar to how it is now, if not,
not, even though I didn't give it a 20 in overall aesthetics, I don't not enjoy that style of graphic.
I gave it a 10 just to be, I mean, I have to be consistent with my score, but I think I've made it clear, like, I liked it works. Yeah. It's fun. It's positive. I don't need good graphics for this style game. I want more top-down strategy games, though.
Yeah, I like I wish it had the only movement I wish it did have, and it's not like a functionality issue. It's just like a selfish wish movement is like, how you can take the Demio board and move it left and right.
Oh, that you could move the whole world like that?
Yeah. It would just make the overall movement a lot easier.
Ooh, that's actually a really good one.
Right.
I was curious where you were going to go with this.
But
I actually agree with that. I agree with that 100%. No, that's one of the best things that...
Because to me, it's like, it's really a board. If you check it out, I mean, it's blocks, so it's technically a board. Why not just give it that ability to...
Yeah, it would... And, like, even if it's not moving around the world, but, like, kind of, like, spin you around it.
Yeah.
And,
either spin you around or choose to spin the actual
but
world
that way,
around.
if you're standing at one end, just be able to go, ooh, no, and not have to move. No, that would be huge. I agree. That's actually a really good one.
But that doesn't take away from the quality of life of functionality by any means. That's just me saying, hey,
yeah, selfish wish. Yeah,
sure wish I could do that.
but man, I hope we get much more top-down strategy games. Like I always say, I don't think everything needs to be a.
I don't think we've really played anything top-down that was bad.
No, to me it actually works because it takes away all the limitations of a strategy game that when you're playing on a computer or something, it's like sometimes you wish you could just grab. It'd be easier grab and play, and you can. So I don't know. I think the genre works great in VR.
And I will say that from the get-go, I have enjoyed this game a lot more than I thought I'd actually enjoy it. I knew I would have fun with it. I knew way back then I'd have fun with it, but I didn't know it would be continually.
That would be talking about it a year and a half later.
Yeah. And so I'm excited
that it's still killing my battery. And we did take a good break off of it, and then going back to it, it was like, oh my god, this is so much fun.
I would do little hop-ins after updates.
Yeah.
So if I saw a developer update, then I knew it was worth going to check out. If it was something like really major, other than just like miracles or something, then.
I would like to see, like I said, if I could be selfish about anything, more interaction between the different kingdoms, more diplomacy. But that might come with the Pirates update because it sounds like there's adding trade. And man, he got me so hyped for whatever his sequel is. He didn't really tell us anything besides it's going to be a co-op God Sim. But
yeah, I'm excited to.
But how does that work? So I got so much questions. I can't wait till that comes out. I can't wait for the Pirate update.
Hats off to him and the team that are hopefully helping him. And
it's one of the genres people like us they're gonna go look for when they buy a headset.
It was a great interview, and it was a great review and a great interview. We actually did it in opposite order than norm.
Yeah, usually we review and then talk to them, but this was one of the times we played the game so much it was like,
yeah, why not just talk to him? It doesn't matter. We don't dislike his product at all. I just look forward to his future, and again, just like everybody else in the business, he's got a passion for it that you can see it.
I really hope he sells a lot of copies. I hope he can take a nice little vacation. He's a developer, which means he won't be able to because it's his own game and he's too crazy and he's gonna
4.7 overall.
Yeah.
And he's actually gone back into people who won Stardom like 10 hours ago from the time of us doing this, and told them, hey, go back in and retry because a lot of things have changed and I've done some updates and I think
there's no bugs now.
Pretty much a nicer way to say that, yeah. But he's literally gone out of his way to, even if it's the same message, just to let people know, look, whatever you experienced before, and he's even said you can contact me at this email, and I will help you get over the hump, because nothing's got to be more frustrated to a developer to be like, the issue you're having isn't as much my game as it could be software update related or
headset related.
Yeah, I mean,
your headset's not fully.
It breaks
updated.
my heart because they're taking the blunt of that review.
Well, when we were looking at the 1-star reviews for this game, which is something we do, because we flip through reviews of games. Most of the 1-star reviews were not about the actual game itself, but about technical issues that, like you said, could have been.
Yeah.
Who knows what that was?
Yeah, and some of them. This is what's awesome. Some of them are over a year old. But they just got that message 10 hours ago saying, look, go back in. So the guy's, he's doing his thing. And for $14.99, you can support it. And actually, to date right now, it's the only God Sim I know of on the Meta Store.
And on the official Quest Store especially. And again, I'm telling you, it's one of those genres people are going to look for when they put on a headset.
And honestly, a kid could play it.
An adult could play it.
There's no swearing. I just like it again because if we play it, I can sit back, I can sit in a chair,
yeah, it's
I
a nice
can chill
game.
out. Yeah. So nothing bad to say.
No. Congrats to Mr. Tommy on the official Quest Store release of
congrats,
Deisim.
Man.
That's Deisim. Again, if anybody's been curious about the pronunciation, it's not Deism like we've been saying, or Deisim like I may have said before. It's Deisim.
Or you can jump on the Deism movement.
You know what? Let's change the name. The name's Deism. It's Deism from now on.
Yeah, I don't appreciate that one bit.
Oh my goodness. So like I always said before we wrap this baby up, if you enjoy the episode, definitely be sure to subscribe, rate us 5 stars. Subscribing, that gets our newest episodes ASAP, and also puts a nice warm spot in my heart, So definitely appreciate that. Go check out our online communities at our Discord server. our Reddit community. You can find the links to that in our show notes and our podcast description. We have the Buy Me a Coffee link where you can donate directly to the podcast for no perks or nothing besides a nice, friendly, warm thank you for me. But we are working on a Patreon server. Have some cool benefits. Get something out of, paying us a little money too. And hey, the dream to go full time. We definitely want to be full time podcasters. But at the same time, it does just feel weird being like, hey, donate to us. I'd like to offer something.
I might feel more comfortable standing on a street corner with the.
Yeah, I like to offer something in return for anything. If you're giving, you should get something
Nothing
bonus.
Is free.
Hey, if you have ideas of what you would like to see in our Patreon server, you can email us that. I don't think I ever really say our email, but it's rufftalkvr@gmail.com. But, look at that little bonus little thing you caught for listening to the end of this episode. So, other than that, I hope you enjoyed this week's content, and check us out next week.